With a family of 4 and a variety of herbivorous and omnivorous reptiles at home, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, to say the least. Hi there, I'm Safari Jack, and welcome to my In the Kitchen edition of Safari Jack TV. Over the years, I've kept a variety of animals, from tortoises to tegu lizards. They all have different requirements when it comes to nutritional values, depending on what species they are, what habitat they're from, and how old they might be. Today, I'd like to share with you a few of my favorite lizards to care for, the iguanas. Iguanas, for the most part, are herbivorous lizards, and herbivores require a little bit more care, not only daily feedings, but daily cleanups as well. So, let's get cooking. When it comes to keeping these animals, there's a lot of nutritional requirements, especially in the early stages of life. I keep 2 different species of iguana. One is the arboreal type, the green iguana, and in this case, an albino version of them. They are truly stunning in appearance, amazing animals. They can achieve a size of about 6 to even 8 feet long and live a lifespan of 15 to 20 years if cared for properly. And I also keep a terrestrial species, the Cuban rock iguana, a very special guest indeed, with some different nutritional requirements in its lifestyle. More of a ground-dwelling species which on occasion will take in or consume certain amounts of protein throughout its lifespan, and a lengthy one at that, in upwards of 60 years or beyond. Amazing ancient lizards. But first, I'd like to start off with the youngsters. So, in the first stages of life, a juvenile iguana has a lot of requirements. Not only are they developing their bone structure and muscle tissue, but most importantly, organs inside of their body, kidneys specifically. And therefore, they need a lot of hydration. But how do they drink water? These green iguanas rarely would ever come down and have a drink out of a water dish. So, here's a few tips on keeping them hydrated for good kidney development. A gentle mist, a few times a day, gives them that opportunity to drink. It keeps them clean, of course, and is good for the skin, but it also gives them that opportunity to drink fresh water from the leaves. But when in captivity, with good UVB and UVA lighting in their habitat or terrarium, the water can evaporate quickly. Here's a couple of tricks of the trade to keep them hydrated for those kidneys to develop. I prefer to give the baby iguanas baby kale. It's a nice tender leaf with lots of nutritional values and requirements. There are some other great greens to give them. The darker the greens, the better they are, the more healthy they can be. Rainbow chard or Savoy kale in this case, which has been chopped and prepared, it's ready to go. Make sure stalks are removed, of course, and by giving them a gentle rinse before placing them on the plate for the lizards to consume, their first few bites will be filled with the moisture they need for that kidney or those kidneys to develop properly. As life moves on, as months go by and years pass, the iguanas can start eating larger chunks of food, snap peas and carrots, a large or wide variety of nutrition. You are what you eat, and the more varied the diet is, the healthier they can be. When it comes to feeding these guys fruit, iguanas love fresh fruit, but you don't want to give them too much. There's a lot of moisture there, but there's a lot of sugar in it as well. So just a light feeding of fruit on occasion gives them that treat and moisture they need. I like to give them their fruit hand-fed or by hand. You know, watch your fingers when you're doing this, of course, but by not placing fruit on the plate and on top of their leafy greens tend to last a little bit longer. There he goes. All right. And I like to keep the iguanas naturally in the treetops. It really is good for their posture, their blood flow as well. Arboreal animals have a slightly different blood flow from many other species, and in this case, a natural digestion process. When their body structure is like so, gravity takes over, and the digestion process begins. I give these guys a bath every few days as well. They really enjoy that, and they often defecate or urinate in the water. It keeps them clean, their habitat is nice and clean, and they can rest up in the trees without being feeling agitated to leave or have to go down to the ground surface to do this. When it comes to the rock iguana, more of a terrestrial species, these guys love a great amount of fruits and vegetables, just like the green iguana. Protein is introduced as well. About once a week, I give Javier, as seen here, this Cuban rock iguana, a small fuzzy or hopper mouse on top of his meal. They love this. You can watch and observe their body language as they choose to eat certain foods first when introduced as a variety. So watch their body language, get to know what they like. It takes a little bit more time to digest the protein, such as a rodent, but in this case, a small amount, infrequently, makes for a good, varied, and healthy diet for them. If an animal is underweight, or on occasion I have received calls from rescue facilities or a veterinary clinic that is in need of some suggestions to rehydrate or jumpstart a lizard's life. There's a couple ways of doing that. This is where dry goods can be a great product to have around for emergency use. There's a long list of beneficial ingredients here, but also a lengthy list of words and nutritional factors and components that are really hard to pronounce. These are the preservatives or additives, but nonetheless, this can have a shelf life of many months or even years. It's great to have around. So when it comes to these dry goods, you can dilute them with water or perhaps even Pedialyte, and a step beyond would be coconut water, a natural ingredient which is readily and quickly absorbed into the body. It can put the lizard back on track. The way you would administer a diluted portion of this is through a syringe with a small tube attached into the mouth, or if necessary, down the esophagus into the stomach. And you too can live a very healthy, happy lifespan by eating good greens. Not just the lizards at home. So, you've been watching another In the Kitchen edition of Safari Jeff TV. I hope you learned a thing or two. Thanks for joining me.